Unihertz or 8849 released a new smartphone, the Shark 3, which is pretty interesting. The specific model number is OBA98. And then we got some specs on the bottom here. Mentioned 16 gigs of RAM, which is sufficient. A massive 11,600 milliamp hour battery, 6.73 inches to be more exact. It is IP68 for water and dust resistant. I guess that's the highest rating. An octa-core processor. We'll see the processor a little more along with performance. And then the camera, which also has night vision. All right, so here's the smartphone itself. Put that to the side. That is definitely thick. Not too surprised about that though. User guide here, along with, wow, a 120 watt fast charger, USB-C. That's nice. Here's everything else we get, including a USB-C cable. Here's some info about the warranty. You get 12 months starting from the date of purchase. So for a rugged smartphone and having a big battery, this is obviously going to be thick. On the right side here, we've got the power button with a fingerprint scanner. On the bottom, we have a cover that shows the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and USB-C port. Also on the bottom here is the microphone. Then on the left side here, we have a programmable / customizable key. This one right here is for the camping light, which is back here. Get to that in a second. Then there's the micro SD card / SIM tray, which can be taken out with your fingers, even if you don't have long nails. Like, I don't have long nails at all. I just cut them not too long ago. You have 2 SIM slots and the micro SD card slot. Gonna put that back in. Then there's the volume keys. And I personally don't like how small these are. These are kind of a pain, especially being on top. It's kind of inconvenient. I have to like move my hand up pretty high to get to this. As I've been using it, I'm just saying. And on the top, we do have an IR blaster here. On the front, we have an ambient light and proximity sensor. It's like on the side here. Here's the speakerphone on top. Then there is the camera that's on the front. And then a camera on the back here, along with a small flash. And nothing much else on the back here. This one is made of metal here. And then the rest is kind of just like a mix of like rubbery plastic almost. So it's kind of an interesting mix. The sides are a little bit thicker. Usually that's the case on these rugged tablets, so it'll last a fall or two. There won't be an issue. And if there is, it'll just be damaged on the top here. Now, I did see a clip of this being dropped down and surviving a fall in the water. That was recorded by 8849, the company itself. So take that with a grain of salt if you'd like. It looked legitimate to me, but again, I like to take those things with a grain of salt. So here's to show you how the camping light is. And it's doing a pretty good job. It gets relatively bright, I would say decently. I can see as far back as the behind the toilet rolls. I can also lower this too if I press it once. And then there's strobe. And then this goes back to normal. Hold it for a few seconds, and then it turns off. This video is brought to you by GetD's new AI smart glasses. This has open-ear audio to listen to any of your podcasts or favorite music, a built-in microphone with environmental noise cancellation for calls, up to 10 meters of range, which will work on almost any smartphone, iOS or Android. And most importantly, AI features like never seen before, such as AI dialogue, translation, voice-to-text, or even face-to-face translation. This has it all. And when compared to Soundcore's audio glasses, which were almost $300, this is going for a mere $30 right now. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today. Links are down below. It's always nice to have that. And then as for the cameras themselves, they're pretty nice. The front and rear cameras are pretty good here. It seems like there's a beauty filter that's on that I can't seem to figure out how to turn off. Whenever I go into settings, there's nothing really there for me to find and like remove. So I guess I'll have to just live with that. It's not terrible, but I prefer something more natural. The rear camera is also really nice at 1080p, even for recording, except when you go to 4K, because when I put it at 4K, my recordings, it just was not smooth in frame rate. It's pretty obvious. You can tell that it's not smooth. And also, it doesn't get too loud either. Like, the microphone is not that good. It feels like it's muffled, and I wasn't holding on or covering this actually here. I made sure it was open because that's where the microphone is. So that's my only gripe. But at 1080p, it's fine. Okay, now this video is at 1080p. It feels a lot more smoother. The only other downside is the microphone, I guess. I'll have to kind of replay it on my phone just to confirm, just because this speaker might not be so great. This camera is really nice, better than I expected. Actually, it's lagging right now. watching a video on here just to confirm that the speaker is actually not bad at all, so I guess the microphone was the problem there. This is maybe slightly above standard. It's just the resolution is really nice on the screen, and being able to watch videos at full HD, or I mean 4K at 60 FPS here. What's not nice is the fact that this has a widevine security of L3. I mean, why have a nice screen if you're going to have widevine L3? Now, I hope that can be fixed in a future update or something like that. I've only seen it get updated once, the widevine level. It was just a couple of years ago with Lenovo. So I'm hopeful that 8849 or Unihertz will do something about it. It's such a buzzkill to not have 1080p on streaming platforms. So yeah, besides that, the screen is nice, but widevine L3 just does not cut it. Everything here seems pretty nice so far. I want to say I've had this screen time on for at least 1 hour, and maybe less than an hour, but I'm at 95%. So 30 minutes to an hour, I want to say a rough estimate. That's it's doing pretty nice so far in terms of battery life. As for performance, you're not going to notice any issues with web browsing, doing basic stuff. Even gaming is going to work pretty well on here. On Geekbench, we got some pretty solid scores here. Single core score being 1441. That's on par with the Samsung Galaxy S22. Then the multi-core score is 4461. So that's above the Xiaomi Poco F5 and just a little bit below the S23. So not bad. The GPU score is also pretty promising. The Vulkan score was 8522. Again, this one was actually above the S23, which is kind of interesting. Then the other GPU score, the OpenCL, is 7786, so that's above the Xiaomi 13 but below the S23. Kind of interesting scores we have here. On CPU-Z, we see that this has a MT689 7Z/ZA. I've never seen the ZA one before. It has 8 cores. A GPU is a ARM Mali G615 MC6. Now this works just fine, and also 521 PPI or pixels per inch on this screen. So pretty sharp screen overall, pretty nice, no complaints whatsoever. And I do want to say, if I mentioned that this was a 4K screen, I apologize. This is actually a 2K screen, or they like to say 3K because it's 3200 by 1440. But still, not bad. First game here is Roblox. Just looking around, everything seems pretty smooth, but when I start to drive, it seems like it's starting to lag a little bit, and that's mainly because the world is rendering. So that's kind of surprising. I'm not sure if this is a Roblox thing specifically, and especially with this game that they have here for racing, because I tried another racing game and it ran pretty well. Next game here is Real Racing, EA's Real Racing, and it's running so much better. You see how the graphics are more like higher end compared to Roblox, and it's just running better. It does a good job. RuneScape 3 is my personal favorite for benchmark performance. So here's what I have in terms of graphics. The only thing I have off is the anisotropic filtering, and anti-aliasing is at FXAA. And that's it. Oh, forgot to turn on shadows. Let me go ahead and turn that on. So it runs pretty well. No complaints whatsoever here. It's not going to be completely smooth at 60 FPS consistently, but it's really nice overall. It stays in the 50s. It does dip down to like 48. I've seen that's the lowest. Just looking around here, just going crazy. And yeah, just cannot get it below like 40 whatsoever. I mean, it touches 40 at one point. That might be a slight stutter here and there. It won't affect your game performance whatsoever. So yeah, this is really pretty nice overall, I'd say. No issues with gaming. Let me just go ahead and just raise the other graphics here. Adjusted these two settings, and it is still working like a charm. I have no issues here whatsoever. This is pretty impressive stuff, I would say. Going to switch it up here with a couple of emulators. First one we have here is the PSP Emulator with God of War. Now this game is working just fine. As you can see, the FPS counters on the side. There are no issues whatsoever. Let me see if I can step up the graphics a little bit or something, or upscale this. Let's see how that goes. The only thing I was really able to change or add was the anti-aliasing, and it actually does still perform really smoothly. I still get a consistent 60 FPS for the most part. The only time I've seen it drop was when I was just adjusting this graphic settings, but besides that, it's good. And then I guess when you try to speed things up, it'll slow down a little bit. But yeah, otherwise no problems with the PSP Emulator. Usually, I heard this was a benchmark game to check to see whether or not it works well. Like, if this game works well, that means other games should work well too on the PSP emulator. Let's try the PS2 for a sec. Next game here is on the PS2 emulator. This is SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Now, this was struggling with some lower-end devices that were a little bit cheaper than this, and it's handling it like a champ here. So, overall, this seems to be pretty good. Obviously, for games, it's pretty good. You can have low to medium settings, and it won't be a problem. Performance is not going to be an issue, that's for sure. I'm not sure exactly what you'd want to do. If you want to max out your graphic settings, then obviously that's the only exception. But when you're looking at a rugged phone, I don't think performance at this caliber is the main thing that you'd be looking for. But correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this pretty much does everything I throw at it. It handles it like a champ. Has a pretty solid screen, a nice resolution. I wish it did get a little bit brighter to use outside in full daylight. But besides that, it's not bad. The cameras were pretty good too, along with this light in the back, camping light. And the battery seems pretty solid here, albeit I have not tested this out thoroughly, so I'll see if I can make some type of update video with the battery life. I guess if there's enough interest, I'll probably just do that, have an update video on the battery itself, and if I came across any issues with this. So feel free to subscribe for that, and stay tuned for more. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Overall, I think this is a great smartphone. The only big gripe I have is that it has a wideband security of L3. That means videos are capped at 480p on streaming platforms. But besides that, it does a great job. One last thing you should know is that there's 496 gigs free out of 512 out of the box, and there's not too much bloatware on here. So yeah, just those other few things I wanted to mention. But anyways, guys, stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.